What's up, everybody? This is Tal LaFontaine. We're up here at Zaka Station riding the 2018 250 KTM SX F. Not a lot of changes for 2018. Super minor, just the orange frame, some suspension updates, and that's really about it. But for me, the KTM has really been good the past couple years. It just has a really light feel. It turns really well. When I ride it, I feel like I can really throw the bike around. Like it's a really comfortable chassis. It works really well when the track gets beat up and rough. The suspension for me was pretty good. It's an air fork. The air fork has a different feel. Like when there's a lot of like little chatter bumps and stuff like that, is when the fork doesn't really work very good. But when the bumps are a little bit bigger and consistent and the track's a little wetter, the suspension works better. But it definitely, the WP AER fork or air fork is the best air fork I think you can get. I went a little higher in the pressure. I think the stock PSI for the fork is 155 pounds, and I went to like 157, 158, and that seemed to work a little bit better. Like I said, I'm a little bit heavier too. I'm 170 pounds. Also, in the rear, I set my sag at 102. I like it just a little higher than what they recommend. They recommend 105, 106 in there. I just think it works better in some of the turns, and then also I'm a little heavier, so it just absorbs the jumps a little bit better and stuff like that. But for me, the suspension is really close right out of the box, and I'd say you can play with the air a little bit, but first I'd play with the compression. You can go a few clicks on the bars, and I just do that before you do anything. When I first went out on the track in the morning, the track was pretty deep. It was really wet, and I felt like it didn't pull as well as it could have coming out of some of the turns and stuff and going up some of the hills because of that reason, because it was deep. And the KTM, it doesn't have a lot of low end. It makes most of its power up high in RPMs, and it just has a little more top than low. So I'd say that's kind of the downfall of the motor, but the upside is once the track kind of dried out and it got a little bit faster, you can really leave the bike in some of the gears because they pull so long, and you have to rev this bike more than other bikes as well because it makes its power close to 13,000 RPM. So it has its ups and downs. The motor's it's still strong. I'm 170 pounds and it pulled me around fine, but I'd say the only downside is that when it is deeper, it could use a little bit more bottom. You could go up in a tooth or two in the rear, and that would help. But once it dries out on a faster track, where you're kind of like wringing the bike out, is when it works really good.